I would agree if we had to go straight to Arizona, but we have a bye. So I don't think they'll be. And coming off this very, very close loss, I think the focus is there that we need to close out and win until we get to UCLA and put that in front of us.
Arizona can score. They proved that tonight. They've proved that a few times this year with Delora, but I just don't think they can keep up, even in Tucson. They'll probably sell that place out though. Send you. It is in Tucson, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
one of the
Pac-12
benefits of being a top 10, top 15 team is you're going to sell out the other opponent's stadiums, and that's going to be their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what USC gets to look forward to.
What Serge is saying is totally true. If Arizona ever stops the run, then we can begin to worry. But they are epically terrible at stopping the run. And I think our offensive line, along with Dye, have shown that we can control the ball on the ground if we need to. And it's just going to be, we'll see. We got to play the game. We got to see if we get healthy. But I would be very shocked if we're not running up and down the field in Tucson.
Any chance a two-loss Pac-12 team gets into the championship?
No.
No.
I mean, the Pac-12 championship or the playoffs?
In the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah.
Pac-12 championship could have a two-team. It all depends on how these teams all do.
Could have happened, yes, but I don't see it.
Are we talking overall record, or are we talking within the Pac-12?
Pac-12 record.
Oregon has the loss to Georgia.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. It's straight
conference.
up your record in the Pac-12. That's what we're talking about. 2 losses.
Conference.
In the Pac-12 conference losses.
Yeah, I just don't see it with too many one-loss and no-loss teams this late in the season.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We have real quick. We have joining us. I'm gonna move a couple of folks to the back. Connor, do you have anything else to add, real quick?
No, I'll head out.
Okay,
Maybe.
Connor, thanks for joining us.
Colorado week.
Hey, good luck. Good luck to your guys this week.
They're coming off a win, so. All right.
All right.
See y'all. Back to Pac.
See you. Larry, I have to make room real quick. Can I move you to the back room?
Yep, you're fine.
Okay. And we want to welcome from Trojans Wire, Matt Zemek. Matt, rough night, but not unexpected. We've been talking about this, and we thought that this might happen, and it did, unfortunately. Perhaps worse because it was so close and it was within our grasp. What'd you think?
Yeah, we all wondered what happens when an opposing offense plays well. And Cam Rising, in the first quarter, he didn't look good. He threw it the interception, which was, wiped off the board by one of the two really egregiously awful Pac-12 ref specials. And then after that wiped away interception, he then airmailed a wide open receiver on a 3rd and 4. So he came out of the gate sputtering, and that was the Cam Rising that we saw against UCLA. It's the Cam Rising we saw against Florida. And so it seemed as though Utah was really up a creek without a paddle. Give it up to Cam Rising that he, watched his season slipping away, could have allowed it to just continue to devolve. He gathered himself. He played fantastic football the final 3 quarters. That was the 2021 Cam Rising. That was the player who led Utah to its first Pac-12 title and its first Rose Bowl. So he deserves it. And Dalton Kincaid, remember Brant Queefy out for the season. Kincaid basically steps up, replaces all the production and then some. 2 spectacular performers with Utah's solid offensive line, which, generally walled off USC's pass rush. So we saw Washington State's offensive line. It was a sieve. We saw what a really good, opposing offensive line looked like with Utah. So again, this was in the final 3 quarters, not the first quarter, but the final 3 quarters, final 50 minutes or so. This is what a really good offense looked like, and USC was in trouble when it went up against a really good offense. And the unfortunate part is on the final 2-point play, not having Eric Gentry in the middle to stop that run by Cam Rising. You got to think he's on the field. He stops that play. He makes the right angle. His reach, his length is able to hog tie Rising at the 1.5, 1 yard line. Brutal luck for USC. So Like that is the central truth of this game, that an opponent finally played well on offense. That it was going to be a rough ride for USC when it finally ran into an opponent playing well on offense. It was bound to happen. This is why going 12-0 is one of the hardest things to do in sports. That is the central truth about this game. Now, having said all that, some people say, and I've been a sports writer for 2 decades, and my journalism professors say you don't ever write that the officials decided a game. I think that's BS. I think that's BS. I think sometimes officials do decide a game. And the reason why I'm going to say that the officials decided this game is it's not just that they got a call wrong. All right, let's be very clear. It's that they got the procedure wrong. And I'm referring to the second roughing penalty, the one in the fourth quarter, which obviously carried so much leverage and centrality. When a targeting call is rescinded, all right, it is extremely rare for the 15-yard penalty to be kept in place. All right. If a targeting call is rescinded, 99% of the time, the penalty is rescinded as well. If the penalty is to be kept in place on a targeting call, it has to be beyond obvious that either the helmet was involved, that it was somehow malicious or violent, not going to the head or neck area. That's what targeting is. But the helmet has to be involved in some way, that it was a uniquely violent play, unnecessary roughness, or that it was uniquely late. So either violent or late. And that play did not check either of those boxes. So
no, yeah. Well, they called it, Matt. They called it roughing the passer with targeting. So they throw the with in there, and which I think is cheap. And I get what you're saying.
Well, yeah, but just targeting was the original call, and usually when that stuff gets rescinded, you're rescinding the penalty as well. It is very rare for the penalty to be kept in place as a point of procedure. See, we're not even talking about whether it was targeting or not, because that got rescinded. It was more about the application of, are you withdrawing the penalty as well? And so keeping the penalty, it has to be clear. It has to be beyond obvious that it's still a 15-yard penalty, even though we're not going to eject the player from the game. And it just didn't rise to that standard. So on that basis, like if this was pass interference and they call it and he's he was either late or we're talking about a second, then that's just a judgment call, right? Like that's like, does the ball hit the white line or not? But there was a procedural element here. And so by keeping the penalty in, like that is an area of prudential judgment, not just, did the ball hit the line? Was it fair or foul? Things like that. There was an intentional decision made. We're going to keep this penalty in place. And that's the true unforgivable sin about all this, is that
it should not have been a penalty at all.
But it's not just but I mean, when you rescind targeting, you're almost always rescinding the penalty as well, as a point of procedure, not interpretation of the play, but as procedure. And they chose to be exceptionally awful in this case. So to me, that is going out of your way to make an executive decision which decides an outcome. And if that makes me a crybaby, so be it. I'm going to take all the heat, all the smoke, but I firmly believe that.
Well, and Matt, you're absolutely right, and I agree. We came on here beginning of the show, and thank you very much for joining us, because I know you had to write all your articles, and now you're joining us, and I appreciate you giving your opinion. And we didn't complain about the refereeing. It is what it is. USC lost this game. We're not going to rehash it, but we went into those details. But the thing I loved about it was because it was on Fox at a legitimate hour, 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock Eastern, and God bless Damon Heward for Brock Heward for telling how bad the refereeing was, because he basically put the Pac-12 on blast. This is ridiculous. This is not pass interference. I used to play quarterback. This is not football. How can you call that? And he went on, so much so that he was going off that goofball, the play-by-play guy, and I don't even want to remember his name because he comes out in the open talking about UCLA. It's like, dude, are you crazy? This is USC. Yeah. So, I mean, this pinhead, right? But, basically educating the country that refereeing was ridiculous, and to go 0 for 3 on targeting calls, that just goes ahead and solidifies you made 5 bad calls.
And the commissioner was there. The commissioner was there watching it in person.
Oh, was he really? Yeah. Well, he probably doesn't really care because we're leaving the Pac-12 anyhow, but your lousy conference was on full display on an issue that's been, getting worse by the year for the past decade. That's all.
Yeah, certainly made the conference bad. Uncle Rico, you are sort of right, but you're also sort of wrong. I'm going to take you out of the chat if you don't drop the subject. We love having you. We really do. But you're sort of right and sort of wrong, and we're not going to keep going there.
Uncle Rico, if you were here earlier, I said it was basically Utah won this game. It's not because of the referees. I basically said it was the play calling by Lincoln Riley by not choosing to run the ball. I'm not being sensitive. I'm basically letting you know what a clown.
I think he's talking about something else.